Bougie Gang, what's going on? How's everybody doing? Happy Saturday, guys. Happy Saturday. What's going on? Okay, the numbers are. I was like, where is Bougie Gang? Where are you guys? I should have gone live on my other thing. So we could see the chat a little better. Hi, Diva. Hi, it's the Rocks. How's it going, sis? And the tall diva gang stars. Thank you for getting here first. Okay. Shawana, Miss HLS, what's going on? I hope everyone is having a blessed Saturday. Yes, thank you. Mac is mommy. Miss T, Jackson Tabasco, what's good? 501 Queen, what's going on, everybody? Hey, let's talk about it. Penelope, Leo lady. Lojo, what's going on? Okay, guys. So the other day, yesterday, it seems like so long ago because I've been going through it a little bit. Um, which I think was yesterday morning. We read one page of the criminal complaint and I was waiting. I had sent a request to get the criminal complaint, and now I have the whole thing. So we left off at a certain spot, but it's interesting because if you've been following this, every report you watch, court documents state da, 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 da. The Philadelphia newscasters, baby, they love telling you they got some court documents and not show it. Okay, they are not showing nothing. There's one or two. I feel like it was Fox. Maybe I don't know if it's Fox 29. Maybe I have the number wrong. I don't want to say the number, but Fox something and CBS, they like flashed it on the screen, but baby, they are not showing nothing. So I don't know. You know what I mean? Like some cities will even post it in the story, whatever. Anyway, I had to wait for it to come and I finally got it. And let's talk about it. Let's get into it. Now we have the details. We got the receipts. We have some, because my thing is, um, I was talking about this to my husband. If people feel a way about social media and bloggers who report the news, which I'm a blogger who reports the news, we should have the same access as your traditional media because who wants to give out misinformation? Nobody wants to give out erroneous or not the most up to date, right? So it would behoove the powers that be to make sure that just as much access to press releases and information is disseminated to those who request it. If you're willing to put your information out there to get information, most people aren't playing. There's a lot of people who don't even want to, they won't even put an email address out because they may, or for whatever reason, that's their business. But most people who are blogging, things like that, who are um, operating in the realm of telling the news and talking about current events, want accurate receipts so they don't have to backtrack and, you know, rewind and all of those things, that you can get it right, and get as much information to your audience as possible, as much accurate information, right? Anywho, let's get into it. I was trying to record this as a video. I can't even tell you how many times Portia would not stop barking. It was absolutely insane. And then now, of course, since I hit the go live, she's probably sitting taking a nap somewhere. Okay. So here we are. And now it's quiet. So good for us, right? But yeah, I probably stopped and started about 6 times and I just said, you know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and go live because I cannot. The editing that I'm gonna have to do on this now is going to be absolutely insane. I may as well just call y'all up, because I also had to spend some time redacting this. This was another thing. There was so much information on here that I needed to redact it. And I'm still like, did I miss something? But I think I pretty much got everything that I needed to get. So there she goes. All right. Just 1 second. Let me pull this. Let me get to the right page. But this will tell a lot of the story. So if you've been following this story and you've been hearing this story, you've been hearing bits and pieces of what, like, the full account, at least according to the police. This, to me, this should help, because I was like, oh, okay. Just a second. Let me get this laid out. Good morning, everybody. Tap in as you come in. Tap in as you come in. Likes really do matter. So if you would, let me. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Um, 1 second. Okay. All right. Let me. 1 second, guys. I'm just trying to get this so I can actually read it big enough. Let's see. Okay. That might be too. Okay, here we go. Okay, guys, let's get into it. Okay. If you've heard part of this before, if you watched my video yesterday, then you would have heard part of this, because we did talk about this first page, but there's 3 more pages of detail that really kind of explain the timeline. So let's get into it, okay? This is from 10/21, okay? Okay. Or what was the just a second. Let's see. What was the actual date of this affidavit was 10/19, okay? All right. All right, let me. Okay. All right, you guys. And I'm probably going to have to take like a little kind of look over break to see what you guys are saying, because for the most part, I'm going to try to get through this because it's a lot of information. It's a lot of information. And that way we can get through it and then talk about it. Okay. All right. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good afternoon to everybody here. Make sure to tap in as you come in. Likes do matter. And I appreciate you guys supporting. However you choose to support, definitely thumbs up. This live is a free way to support this channel, and it means a lot. Okay. All right. Let's get into it. Let's see. Hopefully this will stop trying to do something. Okay. All right, Detective Robert Daly. We read this yesterday. Detective Robert Daly, 653, number 653. Am a sworn member of the Philadelphia Police Department and currently assigned to the homicide unit. Edit. Let me just take that off. Maybe that'll stop it. Okay, hold on a second, guys. Sorry about this, guys. I feel like there's a better way to do that because I'm in a editing program, and I think that that's kind of gonna bother me too much. Just 1 second. Sorry. Okay. Okay. Okay, this is better. Okay. Okay, this is better. Okay, Detective Robert Daly, number 653, am a sworn member of the Philadelphia Police Department, currently assigned to the homicide unit. I have been employed by the department for approximately 25 years, having previously served in patrol and investigative assignments within Southwest Detective Division and its special investigative units, and have received specialized training in interviews, evidence processing, and cellular data analysis, including FBI CAST instruction on forensic analysis and official records from other members of the Philadelphia Police Department and support units and agencies. This affidavit is intended to establish sufficient probable cause for the requested arrest warrants and does not set forth all of my knowledge about this matter. The dates and times listed in this affidavit should be read as on or about dates and times. On October 3rd at approximately 11:30 p.m., 14th District officers responded to Sprague Street. If I'm pronouncing anything wrong, any of my Philadelphia folks, just let me know because I'm not from Philadelphia, even though I am from New Jersey originally. I may not get all these pronunciations correct, so just forgive me in advance and help me out in the comments, okay? Sprague Street for a theft in progress involving a 2008 black Hyundai Accent hatchback. And I redacted out lots of information here. So, as you can see, if you've seen the news coverage, they got all kinds of information on the screen. We can't do that on YouTube. That'll get your video pulled. So, and it's not necessary anyway. So, hatchback and then the tag number, the VIN number. The owner, working as a delivery driver, reported leaving the vehicle running and unlocked when an unknown black male wearing all black entered and fled northbound. The theft was recorded under, and this police report number 2514079318. On October 5th, officers responded to the blank block of Rodney Street for a missing person identified as KS. We know as Kada Scott, a 23-year-old female. The complainant's mother stated KS failed to return home after work the prior evening. A coworker, VA, reported last seeing KS around 10 p.m. on 10-4 outside her workplace, the terrace at Chestnut Hill on Abington Avenue. KS appeared upset and was overheard saying, "I can't believe you're calling me about this shit." KS then walked towards a dark colored SUV parked outside. The SUV left immediately thereafter. T-Mobile records for KS's phone ending in 5117 revealed that 12 calls from ending in 6472 between 9:25 and 10:12 on 10-4, ending with a 43-second call from the number at 10:12 using the tower. At 10:24, her phone ceased all network contact. Timing advanced data indicated her device traveled southeast from Chestnut Hill towards Mount Airy during that period where it went off network. The missing person case was assigned to Detective O'Neill. So let's see. I was trying to see who got the vehicle theft case, and then the missing person case was O'Neill. And then on 10/7, officers and Engine 73 responded to a vehicle fire on the block of 74th Avenue. The burned vehicle was identified as the same stolen Hyundai Accent. Engine 73 ruled as a arson fire. This was assigned to Detective Priadka, number 911, control number 251093. Investigators during the course of this investigation determined the theft, the missing person, and the arson incidents were all related. So someone gets their car stolen on the 3rd. On the 5th, Kada is reported missing, but she actually went missing on the 4th, right? So car gets stolen. Next day, Kada's missing. The following day, her parents report her missing. And then you've got this vehicle fire going on. You've got all these things happening, kind of all at the same time, right? Um, Investigators during the course of this investigation determined that the theft and missing person and arson incidents were related. A joint homicide FBI, I guess at that point they realized we need to get more people involved. And I guess that's when they brought in the homicide unit, because they said they're the biggest and have the most experience. And then they brought in the FBI. Task force investigation determined number blank was a text now number. So the number that Kada had been getting phone calls from was a text now number, VIOP, VOIP, voice over, I guess, internet protocol, something like that. Account search warrant returns showed communications between this number and KS from 9/28 through October 4th. On 10/2, the account messaged, "Yo, Kada, this is my new number. This is my new number." The complainant replied, "Who dis?" And the user identified himself as Kel. On 10/4 at 10:07, KS texted, and this is in the morning, 10:07 a.m., so 12 hours before she would interact with him that night. KS texted, "Kidnap me again," to which the suspect replied, "Better be up too," followed by plans to meet later that night. Their last exchange at 10:09 p.m. read, "See me or CM when you hear." So maybe call me when you're here. The text now account was registered to blank at gmail.com using a Verizon IP address linked to a phone number. Verizon RTT and T-Mobile TAD data show the suspect and complainant's devices together at the Abington Avenue around 10:15. So Abington Avenue, if you remember, that is the address for the terrorist, her job, right? At around 10:15 on 10/4, traveling east towards Mount Pleasant Avenue, then to the Aubrey Arboretum area at about 11 p.m. before the suspect's device returned to Belmar Terrace. Subscriber checks. Once I finish this page, I'll see what you guys are saying. Subscriber checks tied to the IP to Belmar Terrace, home of M. Brown. On 10/9/25, homicide executed a warrant at the address with SWAT assistance. Brown and someone named Lopez Sanchez were detained. 3 phones, 1 tablet, contractor's bags, latex gloves, a hammer, and 9mm ammunition were recovered. The Verizon suspect phone was not located. All right, let's see what you guys are saying. I was about to say, why can't I see any comments? Okay. Okay, everybody. Make sure you're tapping in. Double tap your screen or hit the thumbs up. It helps. Facebook, good morning. Is it Doretha? Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. If you're on Facebook, it's not just YouTube. Go ahead and tap in as you come in. and share this live. Share it as your story. Share it however you want. Okay. I appreciate y'all. Okay. Attempts to interview both detainees were conducted. Initially, so M. Brown initially requested a lawyer upon the administration of her Miranda rights. When detectives left the room thereafter, Brown yelled that she did not need a lawyer and asked to speak with detectives Daly and Kremen. She subsequently was re-advised of her Miranda warning, which were fully waived, and stated the following: Brown does not know the complainant, nor was she ever around Aubrey Arboretum or the complainant's place of work. Brown did own and operate a text now number, but she was unsure of the exact number. She did confirm that her email address of blank@gmail.com and indicated that prior to the complainant's disappearance, no one else had access to her account. But how was Keon calling her on that phone or that number unless he had it in his phone? Because Text Now is an app, right? I've never used Text Now, so I don't know how it works. But I would imagine most apps operate, they're not phone specific. So if you have the app and you have an account, is it possible that her phone could have been logged into two different phones using one account like that, right? You know what I mean? Like Netflix. You might have one Netflix account and you've got 3, 4 people in the house using that account. That I mean, if it's operated as an app, I would imagine it doesn't necessarily have to be on your phone. You could just be using it through the app, right? Brown did receive calls from the complainant's family on October 6th and indicated that she had no knowledge of calling or texting the complainant or having any other information to her whereabouts. Shortly after the call, Brown gave her Android device with the Text Now account to L Sanchez, a fact Lopez Sanchez denied emphatically. So she said she gave her phone with the Text Now account to Lopez Sanchez, the other person that they detained, and Lopez Sanchez said, no, the hell she did not. Brown denied any knowledge of owning or possessing the suspect Verizon phone in question. Lopez Sanchez stated that to the detectives that she had been staying with Brown on Belmar Terrace for several days. Lopez Sanchez indicated that she had previously been involved in an intimate relationship with Brown. Lopez Sanchez was present for the phone call from the decedent's family to Brown and stated Brown became nervous after the call. Brown, however, never gave her the phone in question. Lopez Sanchez gave investigators consent to check her Apple phone. Both statements were memorialized on audio and video recording equipment. Analysis of suspects' Verizon RTT records showed reoccurring travel between Belmar Trace, and Aubrey Arboretum, including 10/7 from 2 to 5:52 a.m. The same device was last active on 10/9 near Belmar Terrace. The frequency analysis identified phone number blank and then the next phone number as top contacts. The latter belonged to A. Hayes, a identified user as K, a black male, mid-20s, thin build, 5'9", twisted hair. Further RTT analysis from 10/8 revealed the suspect device traveled from Belmar Terrace into Center City, lingering near the Criminal Justice Center and Reading Terminal Market for 45 minutes before returning. RTCC poll cameras footage traced a gold Toyota Camry following the same route. A patrol alert distributed stills from the footage. Officers Dohan and Wheeler recognized the vehicle as the 1999 Toyota Camry, tag number blank, registered to Keon of East Durham Street. ALPR confirmed a hit on 10/6/25 on Filbert Street, consistent with the RTT data. King was scheduled for court on that day. So they're saying that Keon's car hit when he went downtown and during a specific time. Also, they were able to correspond with, he had a court date on that day, so that could have been the reason why he was down in Center City to go to court. But they were already starting to track him by this information, that they're already tracking him, that he was noticed. Maybe everything wasn't all the way put together yet, but he was on their radar. They were already tracking him. King was later stopped on 10/6/25 at 6 p.m. on South 60th Street. RTT ARCS again placed his phone in the area at the time of the stop. So they're also saying, so they have a physical data point that he was stopped, and they also corresponded it to the actual phone data information, maybe even just to make, just for calibration purposes, that they stopped him. And also the stop was consistent with the data that they pulled. So they are basically balancing off of each other. Girl. Yes. Okay. All right, let me see where I left off. Okay, King was later stopped. RTT ARCS again placed his phone at the same area at the time of the stop. Previous stops on 10/1 and 10/2 of King occurred. This guy's getting pulled over all the time. Do you see this? On 10/1 and 10/2, previous stops of King occurred. During the 10/1 stop on 10/1/25 stop, Lopez Sanchez was listed as a passenger. This woman is over here living at Brown's, and the police come there on 10/9. Then you are sitting there being interrogated. You got first of all, you go over there, you stayed at the person's house for a few days. So Lopez is over there staying with M. Brown for a few days. Not only you got some shenanigans happening from this dude right here, you got the SWAT team coming, you're detained, you are questioned, you've been getting stopped in Keon's car earlier in that week. So they're saying on 10/1 there was a traffic stop. This before Kada even went missing. Lopez Sanchez was in the car with King. So these are like these got to be known associates of him. The evidence established that KS went missing under suspicious circumstances and that the Verizon VIOP devices used to contact her were operated by Keon King. His phone RTT data and ALPR video corroborate his possession of the 1999 Camry and continuous movement with KS last known locations. Because I feel like all of this information they just gave were data points to reference. We've actually had contact with him. We've actually tracked his phone, and we have actual points of reference when we have been in physical contact with him, and then now pulling his phone records, it's actually consistent. Therefore, on the night that Miss Scott went missing, we can say that his phone confidently was with her phone, because on the other occasions where we have been able to pull him over, we can correspond those stops with the data that we've collected from his phone. So it's pretty accurate. That's what I'm taking from that. Okay, let's see. King was okay, so King was later stopped and Lopez Sanchez was in the car. Okay, the evidence established that KS went missing under suspicious circumstances and the Verizon VIOP devices and her contact with her devices used to contact her. Okay. Under suspicious circumstances and the Verizon VIOP devices used to contact her were operated by Keon King. This phone's RTT data and ALPR video corroborate his possession of the 1999 Camry and continuous movement with KS last known locations. On 10/14, ADA Tozlowski approved charges of kidnapping, REAP, stalking, false imprisonment, use of communication facility, and tampering with evidence. King surrendered that day, accompanied by counsel and declined interview. On 10/15/25, police responding to Ardley Street, the Ada H. Lewis Middle School recovered KS's EBT card. Later that day, King's gold Toyota Camry was located unattended at the Gypsy Lane condos. Surveillance showed the vehicle arriving at 3 p.m. on 10/10 and a lone male matching King's probably description exiting repeatedly, accessing the trunk and leaving the car. KS's family, it's very small down here. KS's family provided detectives with an older iPad linked to her iCloud account. Manual review revealed iPad last seen. So remember, she went missing on 10/4, right? Hold on a second. Let me try to make this bigger. Um, okay. Okay. iPad last seen on 10/4 at 10:21 p.m. near Anderson Street. iPhone last seen 10/4. That's the day she went missing. Her phone was last seen at 10:24 in the same area on Anderson Street. Her watch did not go until 1:15 a.m. and her phone was over there in the vicinity of where she was located at Aubrey Recreation Center on Ardley Avenue, the Ada H. Lewis Middle School. This placed her watch stationary at the rec center lot after the suspect phone left the area. So she was with him, and when he left the area, her phone, her iPhone watch stayed behind. Okay. A survey conducted by Detective Luke and your affiant was negative for the watch. Detectives did observe potential sources of surveillance attached to the rec center that was closed at the time. On 10/18/25, detectives Kelly and Claire confirmed video related to KS was stored, and detectives Luke and Wilson responded to recover the footage. A preliminary review of the recovered video footage in summary depicts the following events in chronological order. It is noted that all times listed are approximately and after conversion to system time to real time. Okay. Just keep that in mind. So I highlighted this in yellow. I did this myself because this is really going into the part where they're kind of going to review some things. And this is really giving to the actual timeline as it was of this date. Okay. They may have learned more information, but as of this affidavit on this date, this is what they had. Let me see what y'all are saying. Okay, because the people who did not spill, they're going to be looked at a certain way, and these police, the police right now have no bandwidth. It's one of those, like when the thing happened in New Orleans with the guys going missing, they're like on some, if you helped, you're going like, we are warning you. Anybody who has information, anybody who's assisting, we need to know immediately. If we have to, basically, if we have to come find you, it's not going to be good. You know what I mean? So if you know something, you might want to tell something. Okay. All right. Let's get into the timeline. All right. So we're back on 10-4 again. This in yellow is all kind of the timeline that from all of the information that they just gave us. This is what they put together on 10-4-25 at about 10:28 p.m. A medium to dark color vehicle pulls up into the parking lot in front of Aubrey Recreation Center. So soon after she got picked up like a little after 10, pulls into the parking lot in front of the Aubrey Recreation Center, backing into a spot in the row closest to the playground. We'd have to look at the Google images. We'll look at that in a bit. Um, we'll look at that in a bit. But if you've seen, I'm sure if you guys have been watching the coverage, you know what the overhead looks like. And there's the rec center, there's a park next door. If you hadn't been paying attention, we'll go back and look at it before we end this live, okay? On 10-4 at about 10:28 p.m., a dark to medium color vehicle pulls into the parking lot in front of the Aubrey Recreation Center, backing into a spot in the row closest to the playground at the rec center, furthest from Ardley Street on the northwestern end of the parking lot, across the driveway from the abandoned Ada Lewis Middle School. It was noted that after observing the vehicle parked in the same spot over 2.5 days period, both during nighttime and daytime hours, the vehicle's appearance is consistent with being an older model Hyundai Accent. One individual is observed exiting the driver's seat of the vehicle before walking away through the playground towards the fence line between the two properties. On 10-5 at about 11:39:27 p.m., so almost midnight, a vehicle is observed pulling into the parking lot and backing into the spot in the row closest to the street, facing towards the recreation center, playground, and suspect vehicle, which is parked in the same spot. This vehicle is consistent with the appearance of the 1999 Toyota Camry attributed to Keon King. At least two individuals exit the vehicle, one who is on foot and the other appears to ride around the parking lot on a motorized scooter e-bike type device before both leave the camera angle. The vehicle stays parked at the location almost 4.5 hours until about 3:56 a.m. when two individuals emerge from the playground area to approach the area where the original suspect vehicle is parked. One of those two vehicles motioned towards the other vehicle parked towards the street lights, which turns its headlights on and drives out the parking lot. The two individuals on foot then approach the suspect vehicle and remove a heavy object consistent with a human body via the passenger side of the two-door vehicle and carry the object towards the playground and in a general direction of where the human remains were recovered on October 18th, 2025. Approximately half an hour later, at about 4:25 a.m., two individuals approached the suspect vehicle and enter it for a short time period before exiting and walking back to the playground and off camera for about a minute and a half later. On 10/7/25, about 2:48:54 a.m., one individual is observed running from off camera from the playground area, entering the driver's seat of the suspect vehicle and driving off. An in-depth analysis of all the video footage recovered continues. Your affiant reviewed King's RTT measurements for this phone related to the above listed criminal activity. The cellular measurements are developing a clear pattern of usage consistent with the above described criminal activity captured by the video surveillance. Your affiant observed a series of overlapping measurement bands from multiple towers centered on what is now known as the crime scene, indicating that King's device and thus King was located in the immediate area of the crime scene during all of the criminal activity captured at the rec center surveillance footage. An additional check was conducted related to the stolen vehicle taken from Sprague Street on 10/3/25 at 11:30 p.m. There is a lack of records for that time period of the theft of the vehicle. There is a measurement which occurred at 11:39. I don't know if I'll be able to read this. 11:39 p.m. that places King in the general area of the theft. King's device remained in the same general area of the vehicle theft until 12:22 a.m. on 10/4, when a clear path of travel initiates from the northwest section of Philadelphia to the southwest section to southwest Philadelphia. King's devices traveled by vehicle back to southwest Philadelphia via Germantown, Lincoln Drive, and I-76 corridors in what is now known as a frequent path of travel utilized by King's device throughout the RTT data records. King's device is in the area of Belmar Terrace by 12:42 a.m. King's device leaves the area of the rec center at the time the Hyundai Accent left the parking lot on 10/7/25. This device traveled north and east and is placed in the immediate area of the arson at 2:58 a.m. It remained in the immediate area of the arson until 3:33 a.m. On 10/18/25, following an anonymous tip, detectives conducted a grid search at Ada H. Lewis Middle School. Freshly disturbed soil was located along the northeast perimeter. Excavation revealed human remains consistent with a young female. A silver gold earring matching one near the burial site was recovered by the rec center gate. On 10/9/25, the Philadelphia medical examiner positively identified the remains of KS, with cause and manner pending. Based on the above described evidence, the movement and activity of King's cellular device corresponding consistently with the timeline and geographic progression of the criminal incidents under the investigation, this device demonstrates a location pattern that place it near the scene of the initial vehicle theft, the arrival at the rec center, subsequent return trips to move the body the vehicle contained, the accents departure from the rec center, and ultimately within the immediate area of the arson during the relevant time frame. The sequence of RTT measurements coupled with the video evidence from the Aubrey Rec Center supports King, is present for and participated in all of the crimes outlined in this affidavit, to include the theft and arson offenses described herein, as well as the conspiracy to commit them. On 10/19/25, Dr. Little with the Philadelphia Medical Examiner's Office conducted a postmortem examination of the human remains recovered from the graveside inside the Ada H. Lewis Middle School. Dr. Little listed the cause and manner. Pending further examination at this time, the remains recovered from the Ada H. Lewis Middle School were positively identified as the missing person KS. Kada Scott. On 10/19, ADA Kozlowski was advised of the facts and circumstances today and approved the following charges: arson, cause and risking a catastrophe, conspiracy, tampering with evidence, unauthorized use of an auto, recklessly endangering another person, receiving excuse me, receiving stolen property. I certified that this filing complies with the provisions of public access policy and the unified judicial system of Pennsylvania case records of the appellate and trial courts that require filing confidential information and documents differently than non-confidential information documents. Basically, this this affidavit was used to support additional charges. But then I'm sure I need to look through the other information that I received. This is the first one that I got through, and I had to redact it as I was reading. I have a couple more things to go through. It's possible the next one, where maybe with the medical examiner's report, because it was later revealed that she suffered a gunshot wound, and I don't know if anything else, but they say the manner was the cause was homicide, I guess, in the manner, gunshot wound, manner, homicide. So yeah, that is the full a motorbike too. Yeah. It apparently is some sort of an e-bike, and maybe somebody was serving like as a lookout, or I'm not really sure. That's what it sounds like to me, that somebody was looking out, somebody was, how people do. I mean, if people are up to no good in a specific area, there's going to be somebody who's going to be like, hooty hoo, or ooh, ooh, making some sort of noise like, y'all better hurry up, or come on, or do something. But it definitely sounds like there were two other people. And to carry, even though this young lady seems to probably be slim, maybe like the low 100s, maybe if she was 120 pounds, that's still something to carry for a good distance. So y'all are quiet. Yeah. It's a lot, right? That's some heavy stuff. I don't admire what these detectives and police officers have to do at all. They do they do some type of job, having to put all this stuff together, and it's all happening real time, because we can sit back and read this stuff and just imagine that you get up every day and this is your job, like, to put all, no wonder, when you watch movies and sometimes police detectives, they're like up all night. They got to go have a drink. It's like you're in your head because you're constantly solving a crime. I mean, that's a lot. I can only imagine. And it's all happening around you. It's all happening real time. So, but yeah, that's what's going on. Keon's lawyer was on the radio, and I was trying to find the episode, and they're on iHeartRadio, but it's like the most up to date. Any of you guys from Philly, if you know Frankie Darcell's channel, if you guys can find it, let me know, because I went to her podcast, I went to her YouTube, and the most up to date episode is not there. Her Instagram, the Instagram for her TV, for her radio station, had it kind of featured like she's having Shaka Johnson on and he's going to talk about the case, but they didn't play the footage. It's like, does anybody there handle social media? I don't know. You would think this is such a big case. You've got him on the radio with you, even just to bring people to iHeartRadio to hear the interview. So I don't know. Let me see if I can put. I heard bits and pieces through a coverage on a channel this morning. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. But I don't know how long the interview was, and I don't know if any of you guys find it, send it to me. But right now it's like clips through just a second. Is this it? Okay, hold on a second. Let me. Let's see.
And we are hearing from Keon King's lawyer. King is the man accused of killing 23-year-old Kada Scott and burying her in a shallow grave in the woods behind Ada Lewis Middle School. Tonight, the community is coming together to honor Scott again, whose remains were discovered last week. Jen?
Dawn, the community started gathering about half an hour ago here at Ada Lewis Middle School. You can hear some loud music here. There is a DJ for this event, and people were asked to bring blue or brown balloons in honor of Kada Scott. Now, you mentioned Keon King's lawyer, Shaka Johnson. He has been facing criticism in recent days for representing King. He went on a radio interview today to defend himself.
Online petitions to have me removed from the case because they don't want me representing this gentleman.
Criminal defense lawyer Shaka Johnson spoke with WDAS FM host Frankie Darcell this afternoon on the Kada Scott case. He's representing the accused Keon King.
I listen for God's voice when I am deciding whether to take a case. Is that what you did here? Most definitely.
King, only 21 years old, was previously in trouble with the law and now faces a long list of charges, including murder, kidnapping, conspiracy, abuse of corpse, and tampering with evidence.
But as a black man, you took this case.
Yes.
And there are people who are angry or salty or disappointed about that. What did you say to that?
When it's a black man, when it's a black attorney, and I'm speaking for a lot of black attorneys who may not be saying this publicly, but they've been all on my phone privately. We are held to a different standard for whatever reason. I'm a professional. I took an oath. Just like doctors take a Hippocratic oath, I took an oath to represent the people that are in my wheelhouse of business.
Kada Scott was last seen the night of October 4th at her job, the terrace at Chestnut Hill Senior Living. Court documents say the 23-year-old was texting with King moments before she disappeared. And surveillance video at the Aubrey Rec Center captured King's gold Toyota Camry and two people carrying a heavy object consistent with a human body. Police recovered Scott's remains October 18th in the woods behind the former Ada Lewis Middle School, where a memorial has been growing ever since.
It just shows the impact that she had on people's lives when she was living, as she was going through her journey. It's just sad to see that her journey was cut short the way that it has been, and by another young person.
King was arraigned this week on the new charges, including murder, and is being held without bail.
Hopefully he's man enough to accept his own actions and stand up and not have to put the family through any more additional pain.
This is not about money. This is not about money. I've been getting coins a long time. This is not about money, okay? I'm just going to be very frank about it. This is not about clout chasing or needing to somehow be in the public eye with a high-profile case.
And we do want to point out we put in requests to Shaka Johnson for an interview as
Did he say he been getting coins for a minute? He's very
money. This is not about money. I've been getting coins a long time. This is not
Need more additional pain.
This is not about money. This is not about money. I've been getting coins a long time. This is not about money. Okay, I'm just going to be very frank about it. This is not about clout chasing or needing to somehow be in the public eye with a high profile case.
And we do want to point out we put in requests to Shaka Johnson for an interview as well and are still waiting for a response on that. Now, Kada Scott's family.
right. He went from saying nothing, which I feel like, I don't know. There's always a way to put a statement out in a professional way, right? Yeah, I mean, this guy deserves to have his lawyer of his choice. If they can pay for it, awesome. And good. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, the bottom line is, to me, I don't live in Philadelphia, but at the end of the day, the bottom line is this could happen anywhere. That's one. Number two, the better lawyer that he has assures that when they start running the video, when they start running all this video and they start running back all this data, because now these police detectives, it's not to say that they don't have to drive around, do interviews and talk to people, but baby, they're damn near running data reports, all kinds of analysis, comparative reporting, all kinds of things. And when they start bringing out all these data reports, all of this evidence, all of the things that occurred, and how Sir was moving around the city, and clearly people who don't want any of that smoke, some people who gonna lie, some people who got involved inadvertently, they didn't know what was going on. Just like we saw with London Thomas. London Thomas' stupid boyfriend, mama, got somebody random involved asking him to help her move something, and turns out it's London Thomas inside the container. And I guess Sir was like, oh, hell no, and reported it, because most people are not only just afraid to be involved in something like that, but also respect that, wow, like, this is some crazy shit that I don't want to be involved in and would never have been involved with had I known what was actually going on. So, no. So, yeah, people are going to be speaking. People are going to be talking just like they were. Whoever the tipster is clearly was involved or knew something, had privy to hearing what was going on, or was there. All he has to do is cast a reasonable doubt. That's it. And it could change the trajectory of the case. That's true. But I think that, and that's, I mean, obviously that's true. Yes. I'm going to say, however, I don't even, trying to not say but, and however is basically but. I just think that Keon they have to overcome a lot of data. There's a lot of data. There's a lot of information supporting that this was him. Now, do they have anyone who's going to flip? Are they going to find fibers on his clothes? When he turned himself in, he's probably, I would imagine, he probably had a good shower and changed his clothes. If they're able to find his clothing he was wearing, if he, it also, if there's some physical evidence, I think that's going to obviously help on top of the data that they have collected, statements. I guess we'll have to see what additional evidence they'll be able to collect. It's going to be a minute before this ever comes to trial. It's going to be, we'll probably be into 2027, 2028. Who knows? It could take 2-3 years for this, but yeah. Now the black Hyundai that got crushed. the Toyota is being processed. That's definitely a possibility. If the ammunition that they found matched, if that hammer was used in any type of way, if any of the materials that when they uncovered or unearthed her body, anything that they may have used, the contractor bags, things of that nature, and they are similar bags. Let's just say whoever went shopping, you know how there's always somebody going to damn Home Depot, Walmart, or Lowe's buying the quote unquote kill kit, shovels, bags, gloves, all of the things. If there are, because who has contractor bags on hand? You know what I mean? So anyone who may have gone and purchased items within that period of time, and they've got the people, because you already know Lowe's, Home Depot, Walmart, you're going to be on video. That's just a foregone conclusion. The two ladies are already telling conflicting stories. One person was like, I know nothing. And the other person was like, well, yeah, that's not accurate. Yeah. Brown said one thing and Lopez Sanchez was saying something else. Absolutely. That's correct. The lawyer is so ostentatious. I wonder if he will make it to the trial. He seems to be. Also, if he's paid, if he's a paid lawyer and Keon's retainer runs out, Keon might have emptied out his whole entire, his duffel bag. Keon might have gone over there and retained Mr. Johnson with what, you know what I'm saying? I mean, he might have long money. I don't know. I'm not going to begin to make any assumptions about what that man has at what he has access to. But some people who are about their coin and they have paralegals and admins to pay and all of the things. I mean, at the end of the day, that coin runs out. We gonna see if he's not about the coin. Because if he's not there on some pro bono or something like that, which I'm sure he's not, just my opinion, he's gonna be gone. So maybe he can get him, sometimes it's for a season because this is going to be a marathon. This is not going to be something fast. This is going to be, I don't know how they do business in Pennsylvania. Like, is it going to take a minute? Is it going to be this time next year? What's going to happen? But if this is a marathon, I don't know if Keon might not have marathon money, but he might have people that support him who can drop off a payment to the lawyer. We don't know. We're going to see how this turns out. You know what I mean? We're going to have to see if it's not about the coin. Mr. Johnson, we're going to see. Okay. I've seen people speaking big about this lawyer. They said he is no joke and is known to get people off. Girl, we're going to watch. We're going to watch and see. I mean, this is the narrative of the police. If Mr. Johnson, when Mr. Keon has his day in court, we'll be able to see how, hopefully camera crews will be there, I would imagine, because this is like the biggest story right now, amongst many others, because I'm sure, there's other families right now hurting, but this is a story that has shined a light on some clear opportunities of the city. So I'm sure I would imagine they're going to be covering this. If Mr. Shaka Johnson has a alternative theory, or reasons why things should go a different way, I'm sure we're going to hear about it. So that's what he said. That's what let's hear
We did set up a memorial and justice funds on GoFundMe, and it is over $23,000.
Bringing back just a little, we like a little bit of shade. That's yes. Mr. He said he'd been getting coins for a long time. If anybody is in this area and you know how to pull up this interview, I went to Instagram where you would have thought that they would have attached the audio to the Instagram. Anybody who has it, I had no idea, or else I would have been listening. Anybody who knows how to, I went to iHeartRadio and girl Steve Harvey was on. I was like, don't you have your own channel? I went to WDAS. Then I went to Miss Frankie Darcel's page and it was way out of date. So if anybody knows how to access this channel's episode from Friday, holla at your girl. It was on Friday at 3 p.m. on 105.3 FM. It was the Frankie Darcel show. I'm gonna pull it up for a second. Let's listen to this one more time because he said, "But God."
Keon interviewed today to defend himself.
Online petitions to have me removed from the case because they don't want me representing this gentleman.
Criminal defense lawyer Shaka Johnson spoke with WDAS FM host Frankie Darcel this afternoon on the Kada Scott case. He's representing the accused, Keon King.
I listen for God's voice when I am deciding whether to take a case.
Is that what you did here?
Most definitely.
King, only 21 years old, was previously in trouble with the law and now faces a long list of charges, including murder, kidnapping, conspiracy, abuse of corpse, and tampering with evidence.
But as a black man, you took this case.
Yes.
And there are people who are angry or salty or disappointed about that. What do you say to that?
She said there are people who are angry, mad, and salty or salty.
When it's a black man, when it's a black attorney, and I'm speaking for a lot of black attorneys who may not be saying this publicly, but they've been all on my phone privately. We are held to a different standard for whatever reason. I
don't have a problem with him as a black man taking a black man's case. I don't care. I do not care. It is of no concern to me how he picks his clientele. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? Like, if there are people saying you're a black man, you shouldn't be representing, well, it's okay. I mean, if you're going to do criminal defense, you got to, I mean, I don't see that is a problem.
Professional. I took an oath, just like
some people, some criminal defense attorneys say, I can't defend, Chomo. I can't defend sex offenders, R's, things of that nature. There are some people that say, in my practice, I do not do this. That's understandable. If you say, I don't litigate those type of cases. But when we start to get into, I don't litigate these people based on this, it's a little messy. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just not, I can't defend a black man because you did this, but I'll defend the next man who did it. Like, who can, you know what I'm saying? Like, either you defend it or you don't. It shouldn't matter. He could say, as a man, I have daughters, and these type of cases I avoid. Maybe I like to be in the corporate realm, things of that nature. So I don't touch those type of cases because these type of cases are too close to home. I'm a family man with young ladies under my roof, and I'd rather not, type of thing. I get it. So, but people can't, people can feel how they feel. This is a case that has touched a lot of people personally. So maybe their rationale does not necessarily make sense. You can't really defend it. It's just a feeling. It's more like based on feelings than actual factual reasons why this man shouldn't take him as a client. But the best thing is that somebody who does need to go to court have a decent attorney, because when they start to unleash the weight of the evidence on you, then you won't have a situation where he's not adequately represented and ushered off to prison if that's how he is adjudicated, right? Rather have someone have a good lawyer and then bring the full weight of all of the evidence and have a vigorous, proceeding, rather than have a weak attorney and homeboy is out and about and, living his life outside. You know what I mean?
Doctors take a Hippocratic oath. I took
Let's
for
hear it.
God's voice. When
Lawyer Shaka Johnson spoke with WDAS FM host Frankie Darcell this afternoon on the Kada Scott case. He's representing the accused, Keon King.
I listen for God's voice when I am deciding whether to take a case.
Is that what you did here?
Most definitely.
King, only 21 years old, was previously in trouble with the law and now faces a long list of charges, including murder, kidnapping, conspiracy, abuse of corpse, and tampering with evidence.
But as a black man, you took this case.
Yes.
And there are people who are angry or salty or disappointed about that. What do you say to that?
When it's a black man, when it's a black attorney, and I'm speaking for a lot of black attorneys who may not be saying this publicly, but they've been all on my phone privately. We are held to a different standard for whatever reason. I'm a professional. I took an oath.
I'm a
Just like
professional.
doctors take a Hippocratic oath. I took an oath to represent the people that are in my wheelhouse of business.
Kada Scott was last seen the night of October 4th at her job, the terrace at Chestnut Hill Senior Living. Court documents say the 23-year-old was texting with King moments before she disappeared. And surveillance video at the Aubrey Rec Center captured King's gold Toyota Camry and two people carrying a heavy object consistent with a human body. Police recovered Scott's remains October 18th in the woods behind the former Ada Lewis Middle School, where a memorial has been growing ever since.
Just shows the impact that she had on people's lives when she was living and she was going through her journey. It's just sad to see that her journey was cut short the way that it has been, and by another young person.
King was arraigned this week on the new charges, including murder, and is being held without bail.
Hopefully he's man enough to accept his own actions and stand up and not have to put the family through any more additional pain.
This is not about money. This is not about money. I've been getting coins a long time. This is not about money, okay? I'm just going to be very frank about it. This is not about clout chasing or needing to somehow be in the public eye.
Every time I hear him say he's gotten coins for a long time, it's like my brain goes blank. Like, wait, did I zone out for a second? It's just, I start going blank and then I hear him say coins and I'm just like, what? And it's like, I cannot with him.
With the high profile case.
And we do want to point out we put in requests to Shaka Johnson for
Okay,
an
I think I
interview
found
as
something,
well, and
y'all.
are still waiting for a response on that. Now, Kada Scott's family did set up a memorial and justice fund on GoFundMe, and it is over $23,000 and counting. Certainly a lot of community members sympathizing and sending their condolences to the family. As you see, a lot of them are now gathered over there to get this event underway. We're expecting it to wrap up around 6:30, so we'll have another live look for you coming up in about 1 hour. Jason?
All right, Jen Lee, great reporting on this. You've been on this story all week for us. Continued good work.
Okay. Hold up. I think I found something. Okay, let's pivot. I found it. Okay. Here he is. Here's sir. Okay, let's go. Hopefully this is something. Okay.
And welcome to my conversation online with attorney Shaka Johnson, who has been on the afternoon traffic jam and headlines for a number of topics throughout the last couple of years, and wanted to come and have a conversation. He is representing Keon King in the death of Kada Scott. You called, wanted to have a conversation about representation. First, I want to start with you and talking about why you decided to come in and have this conversation here, because there's been some backlash, quite frankly, about you making the decision, particularly as a black man,
Yes.
to represent Keon King in this very high-profile case. There are people who are hurt.
Mm-hmm.
People clearly are many horrified at what has been alleged.
Oh, okay, hold on.
And
All right, let's
to my conversation online with attorney Shaka Johnson, who has been on the afternoon traffic jam and headlines for a number of topics throughout the last couple of years, and wanted to come and have a conversation. He is representing Keon King in the death of Kada Scott. You called, wanted to have a conversation about representation. First, I want to start with you and talking about why you decided to come in and have this conversation here, because there's been some backlash, quite frankly, about you making the decision, particularly as a Black man,
Yes.
to represent Keon King in this very high-profile case. There are people who are hurt.
Mm-hmm.
People clearly are many horrified at what has been alleged. That would be the proper term.
Yes.
What has been alleged by your client. And your office and you as an individual have received some backlash on that. Let's start first with the why. Why are you here?
Frankie, quite frankly, I'm somewhat confused as to what I'm going to call, there's a little bit of fake outrage and hypocrisy that seems to be taking place when people say Black man representing Keon King in this particular circumstance.
Ooh.
In this city.
He's going to conflate, guys. He's going to conflate. He's trying to take the look off of the fact that this was a cold-blooded murder of a young lady, and not even in the prime. She hadn't even got to her prime yet. She was still like a blossoming flower. This girl was so full of life, just starting to bloom. She wasn't even there yet. People are hurt about this. They feel like this is their daughter, right? This is their sister. This is their baby. It's not about being a Black man. It's just, damn, ew. It's ick. It's nasty. People don't like Keon because they don't like what he did and how cold-blooded nasty it was. People are still trying to process and absorb what happened. It's not about being a Black man. It's just about, like, really? This your client? This is you? That's what I think. Okay, I'm getting ready to go back on mute.
Any attorney who's representing defendants is, by statistical probability, more likely to be representing a Black person who's accused of doing a crime to a Black person, whether it be male or female. Okay, so this is something that happens every day. Every day, every week, we are getting cases where there's a Black man accused of stabbing a Black woman. There's a Black woman accused of shooting another Black woman. The list goes on and on. So somehow, this particular case seemed to be the line for some people. And where you draw your line, I don't draw mine. The social media and the internet doesn't run me, right? I don't operate on that frequency. And so when you have people who say, well, why would you take that case? You're a Black man.
Yeah.
I think it's spoken with a little bit of ignorance, because I am, every attorney, but me, talking about me for this moment, I am challenged with that every time the phone rings, because it is usually a Black person charged with doing some foul or some harm to another Black person. I get this daily. So what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do?
So your why is what?
So, well, my why is because I'm an attorney and I'm a professional. I'm an absolute professional. I'm the consummate professional. I have an oath to protect, and I represented this young man. I engaged with the family before we knew what this actually was. I got a chance to meet his mom, meet his dad, meet his brother, and I'm telling you, they are salt of the earth people. The kind of people,
but they are.
Yes,
and I'm taking nothing away from that.
Sure.
What your client has been alleged of.
So what I'm saying is, having met them long before I knew what Keon was charged with.
And okay.
You know what I'm saying? So having met them, and then maybe a week and a half later, being told by Mr. Krasner what he was being charged with.
So the district attorney knew that you were representing.
Yes,
Mr. King.
I'm the one who turned him in. He called my phone.
So you were representing him on another case. What? Can you just clear that up? Be specific.
Absolutely. There was a warrant served in the uptown part of the city at a property that they no longer live in. The parents were contacted by neighbors we have no idea why the police are kicking in our door at our old spot. But we're going to get an attorney to see if we can find out why are they, they didn't say who they were looking for or why, but can you help us find out? I did some searching, did some looking, and his father and I said, maybe Keon missed court on his DUI. Maybe he missed court. I'll check and see if it's a bench warrant regarding the DUI. That was the whole engagement. That was the engagement. Once I started to do some checking, I got a phone call from the district attorney's office that said, no, he's wanted for something much more devastating, much more grave than a bench warrant for a DUI. He's wanted for in connection with this particular situation. Would you, Shaka, facilitate him being surrendered, or do we have to find him? Now, here's where having an attorney with a certain amount of cachet comes into play. You understand? Keon's in custody because he listened to his attorney. He was out of custody walking around. I didn't counsel that young man to take flight. I didn't tell his people to tuck him away. I didn't tell him to go on the run. We have to do this in decency and in order. And collectively, we prayed on that, me and his family and his aunts and everybody came in the office, and then we surrendered him to authorities. Knowing that at the time, nobody had been discovered, but she was in fact missing, and that he was going to be charged in connection with her disappearance. All right? And so that's how it began. That's how it began. I spoke to Mr. Krasner 4 or 5, maybe 6 times over the course of a few days, trying to do this in decency and in order and not through the media.
So the initial charges, and correct me where there may be some missteps. The initial charges was kidnapping.
That's correct.
Kada Scott was missing. And then the district attorney announced that there was a previous case.
Yeah.
And since then, the district attorney's office has announced that those charges would be included in this particular case, involving Kada Scott, where in the initial case, the young lady did not show up in court.
Correct.
Now, that case, in addition to this case, and we know through the medical examiner's office, I just want to say for the sake of fact, we know what the cause of death is, which is a gunshot to the head. But now the initial case from earlier in the year is included in this case. Is it proper as an attorney that I ask you the question about the initial case being included now in this particular case?
Well, yeah, sure it is.
And that now the district attorney are using these charges against your client as well. I'm just fact finding.
Yes, no.
Understanding so that we can get from questions that I've had and others have had in terms of understanding what happened in that initial case and why your client, and I don't know if you know the answer to that, was not prosecuted because the charges were dropped in the first case at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, no, I have all those answers.
Oh, okay.
All right, so we'll take them in order. So a person gets arrested, they come to court, and the witness / complainant also gets a subpoena to come to court. If you don't come, the court will give you a number of times not to appear, and then they will dispatch with the case. They'll throw the case out, discharge the case, because they can't keep the system clogged with people who apparently don't want to be involved, all right, for one reason or another. I find it interesting, though, that person who did not come to court and was the cause of the case being dismissed has now taken to social media and has a lot to say and is sharing information on social media about the case they did not come to court for.
So
he's blaming the victim. So, okay, whatever. He's blaming the victim. Oh, he's one of those.
I just want to, for fact's sake, so the person who was involved in the initial case, are you saying the person involved in the case earlier in the year is on social media?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Do you know whether or not, now that they're using the initial charges from the beginning of the year in this case, do you know whether or not that person is now testifying in the upcoming case, which is forthcoming, where there's going to be a hearing on November 10th? And what social media are you talking about?
Okay, so Those
Or are
two
you
cases,
referencing? Because if it's on social media, it's out there.
Those two cases are separate, right?
Okay.
The previous case that was discharged and the case that he's currently facing murder charges for are separate.
Okay.
There are legal motions that have to be filed by the side who wants to put these together to bring in any sort of prior bad acts. Okay. That hasn't been done, but it's all in the court of public opinion now.
Okay.
It's been done through social media. It's been done through calling press conferences. It's been done through saying incendiary sort of statements to the public, but it hasn't been done where it's supposed to happen, which is in court.
Specifically, you're saying the individual involved in the initial case has posted some things public.
That's what I'm saying.
On social media.
Yes. But that is its own case.
That's its own case. All right.
And to the extent it is coming up now, and to your question, will it be used in this particular murder case? There are motions that have to be filed.
Okay.
But they have all but put those cases together in the court of public opinion.
Okay. All right. Let me go back to...
Which is not fair, by the way. And that is why you have a defense attorney. That is not fair for Keon. It's not fair for any person.
Let's get back to you representing Keon and your why.
Yes.
And what the outcry has been that a black man representing your client in a case involving which is a beautiful young life. Your client has alleged to be the person responsible for her death. When you made this decision, you made this decision based on what? And that's what I want my audience. That's what you wanted when we wanted to address.
Yes. I said this to you before. I'll say it again. I listen for God's voice when I am taking a case. That is an assignment. I've been given a certain set of skills. And if I'm going to use them for a person, I want to make sure I'm using them to the benefit and much to the delight of my creator. That's what I want to do. Okay. I feel like I've heard his voice and I'm good with taking this particular case. That doesn't mean that he's going to skip out the door like nothing ever happened and this family won't see justice. That won't mean he'll be convicted. What it means is when I take this case, what it means is I'm going to use the skills that I have and what's at my disposal to keep the prosecution on point, to keep them from playing foul. And this is any prosecution. It didn't matter. To keep them from playing out of bounds, to keep them. You heard how many times they stood or at a podium and said, "We don't want to mess this up. We don't want." They kept saying that was the theme. We don't want to mess this up.
Do you think that some of the concern of the district attorney's office, attorneys on both sides, the prosecution side and on the district attorney side, you guys, you go to the same parties, you're in the courtroom, you cover cases together. They know you.
They do.
You know them.
I do.
What do you think, or are there concerns there at all?
That they would have?
Well, let's start there, that they would have.
Yeah, and they should. Yeah. I do think they're concerned. I think the public is also concerned, right? Because it's the public sort of on social media, and I think they've gotten accustomed to when I represent people, they're being...
So was he supposed to be like Johnny Cochran or something? Look, so this is the deal. Why does it matter that he's a black man? It really doesn't. But there is a certain segment of the culture who feel like sometimes when things happen within the culture that is against the culture, counterculture, right? And this could be anything, right? But I'm speaking specifically as a black woman. My observation, when something happens counter the culture, people feel like that person has now been shunned. Keon is part of the culture that we don't want. You know what I'm saying? He's counterculture. He's an accused murderer. He is an accused drug dealer. He is an accused thief. Somebody's out doing their job. He stole somebody's car. He's out with somebody's daughter and he's got his hands around their neck. He's kidnapping folk, children, adult children. Okay. He is counterculture. He is someone who people would prefer to be shunned across the board. Okay. He's a black man. And people feel like, oh my God, you're a reputable black man with a professional license. How dare you? I can't speak for white culture. I can't speak for men. I can't speak for other races or nationalities. I can only speak for what I know. And in this community, if you do something counterculture, we don't want you anymore until maybe some time's gone by and we forgive you. But in a way, people get canceled everywhere. Some people have canceled Donna Trump. Some people have canceled the R. Kelly. Some people have canceled this one, that one, the third. Y'all know about look, just whoever y'all in your culture, if you're listening and you're trying to understand, whoever y'all have canceled last, that's this, okay? And people are trying to wrap their head around why you would defend someone who should be canceled as a young man, because he is counter culture, okay? It doesn't matter that he's a black man. They're just trying to wrap their hands around, ew, he's ick. Why would you have anything to do with this guy? He needs to just go off to jail somewhere. We just want to forget about him. Okay. They're not thinking reasonably. They're thinking emotionally. So don't even put too much time into it. It's facts, it's feelings, not facts. And that's it. That's all. Okay. That's my spiel on why. And that might not even, someone else might have two different reasons why what I just said doesn't make sense. I don't buy into that. I don't care. Let Keon have the best lawyer his money can buy. If the evidence supports sending him away for a very long time, let the evidence support that, and let the folks that do their job do their job. You know what I mean? I don't think that he doesn't have a right to a decent lawyer or Shaka Johnson. He can have Shaka Johnson times 10 if he can afford it, and he can have it. I do not care. But there's some people who believe in kind of the shun mentality, and they feel like Keon deserves to be shunned. And you are a pitiful excuse for a black man or a lawyer by representing someone like that. Everybody does not hold those beliefs. It's a few, but clearly Mr. Shaka's bothered, or he is using this to pivot the conversation away from the heinous act and use this as a talking point rather than talk about the real issues, is that your client is accused of something heinous and people are mad. That's why. Not because you're black, sir.
A certain outcome.
Yeah.
Okay. But the outcome is the byproduct of me protecting the process. And if that means you have to do a better prosecution, then I'm doing my job. You understand?
Can we talk more about that? And I just want to be clear with your why, and you talked about praying and the like, but speak to the person who is watching. When, as a defense attorney, you decide that you're going to take a case, yes, in a very sensitive case, emotional case, and one with this kind of media coverage, if it would have been easier to say, no, I'm not going to take the case, or do you think you should have not taken the case, or why you took the case?
No, I don't think I shouldn't have taken it. I am, frankly, I don't know any other way to say it. I'm a professional, and I am tasked daily, maybe even several times a day, with people who are charged with certain offenses that in my personal life disgust me. But I am a professional, and I took an oath to preserve and protect the same Constitution that protects me and you and them. And if you get into this whole, well, I don't like what you're being charged with. Not that I take every case, let me be clear. But that's the ones I don't hear the voice. You understand? But if you get into, well, I don't like what you've been charged with, then what crimes do I like? I don't like any crime. What crimes do I like? Right? So at some point, you have to just be the professional, and it's not about who the victim is. whether it's an elderly woman, whether it's a child, whether it's a female, or a black boy, could be my black son or my brother. It can't be about who the victim is. It is about protecting the sanctity of the institution. That's what it is.
Most, and it should be the question, most of the concern that you've gotten about taking this case, has it primarily been from the African American community?
100%. At least that I.
And why do you think so?
I think it's because their version of justice on social media. Let me say it differently. I think they're being gaslit to some extent. I think there's some.
And what do you mean by gaslit?
There's some gaslighting going on. Let me give you an example. People who never met Miss Scott or the Scott family are posting things with sort of inflammatory remarks and my picture and all this other kind of stuff for clicks and likes and shares, and they are monetizing on this tragedy. You understand? That's how the internet works. That's how Instagram and TikTok.
Mr. Shaka, you not getting paid right now? So, Mr. Shaka, you're not monetizing this situation. You don't get a retainer from the King family, and Miss Darcel is getting a paycheck. She's at her good job right now. She's not in her bathtub. She's not in her living room. She's not talking to you for free. Nothing in this world is free. I just love how people love to make it seem like social media is so corrupt because you make a coin. I made it my job to help people get the news they want. Okay? Some people come to my channel, period. That's my job. Why is it bad that I make a coin because I decide to bring people the news? And now all of a sudden I'm a bad person because my channel is monetized. So it should go to the next person who's not. That doesn't make sense. That's stupid. Like, sir, don't you get paid? Miss Darcel's getting paid over there. iHeartRadio, we know, is making a bag. Okay? You got to be kidding me. We know. Come on now. That's so stupid. That I hate hearing that argument because it's like, sir, you sound dumb.
TikTok and Facebook works. That's how it works. People set up an account. They monetize their account. Everyone can do it. A kid can do it. Everyone does it.
Yeah, but it takes some work. You don't just set up an account and get monetized, Shaka. And you know this, okay? You got to work to get that monetization. And even when you get it, it's not worth a damn until you actually get some numbers, okay?
And then based on the number of clicks and likes and shares and reposts and retweets you get money deposited into your account. They don't really care about this beautiful young lady, right? And that's why I called it initially like a fake outrage, because they're doing this across all platforms. And
wow, so really and truly, according to Shaka Johnson, I'm sorry, maybe he's been a criminal defense attorney so long that he now feels like it's fake outrage for people to actually give a damn because he doesn't give a damn. Are you kidding me? So it's fake outrage. Wow. I hope all of the people of the city of Philadelphia and the state of Pennsylvania see this, because they need to know that this man, Shaka Johnson, is calling y'all a bunch of fake actors, and that y'all are really not feeling it the way you say you do for Miss Scott, and that part of the community is just doing it for a bag, as he, I'm sure, is collecting a nice retainer.
Next week, when something heinous happens to someone else, they'll do the same thing with that person.
Have you considered walking away from the case?
No, I never considered it 1 second.
What is there any misinformation that's out there that you would like to address now?
I mean, I think it's so much. I don't even know if we have time. It's so much. But a lot of it's related to the case, which I will not speak on because that would be reckless. But I think the people who know me, and there are quite a few who know me, the real me, they understand that I do this full time, right? Like I'm married to this and it's my mistress. You understand this law? It's both of those for me, okay? And so that means there are going to be some people that you represent that you can see yourself in, you like them, and there are some other people you don't see yourself in. You may be sitting in a room with evil, but you got a job to do. And that's called being a professional. I could walk away from this particular case, but I think that I don't operate on the bandwidth, on the frequency of social media. I don't operate on that frequency. So I don't respond to that.
Do you think you owe, or is there an opportunity on your part for better understanding that you could share with our audience now in terms of moving forward? Because this is going to be what might be a long process before or if it gets to a trial. Speak to that person now who may have had some honest concern to say Shaka Johnson, who they know, who they've seen, who they've cheered for, has taken on this particular case. What would you say to that person?
I would say, please don't be a hypocrite. Today, it is Keon King. And if we start to erode the rights of Mr. King, tomorrow it is you. That is what is going to happen. If we create this slippery slope where we start prematurely vilifying people that we just don't like and attorneys coming off cases because it happens to be unpopular, I don't know where that ends. It doesn't end anywhere. And it certainly doesn't end well for people who are historically the most disenfranchised in the criminal justice system. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. This case has nothing to do with my personal beliefs, my personal ethics, and whether I am somehow sort of spiritually aligned with this young man. This has to do with the way in which I see the law and how I know how to hold the prosecution accountable and make sure that they dot all I's and cross all T's, which is what you want in a criminal case.
All right. If the question is appropriate, because we're talking about the victim, and I acknowledge and speak her name, Kada Scott, who you are representing, the person accused in her death, a beautiful, young, bright young lady. If there were something, or if that would be appropriate, that you could say to her family, would it be appropriate to ask you that question?
Sure.
Knowing that what your client has been accused of, but that there is a young lady whose life has been ended. What could you, or would you, or can you say something to the family?
Any crime. What crimes do I like? Right? So at some point, you have to just be the professional, and it's not about who the victim is.
What?
Whether it's an elderly woman, whether it's a child, whether it's a female, or a black boy, could be my black son or my brother. It can't be about who the victim is. It is about protecting the sanctity of the institution. That's what it is.
And it should be the question, most of the concern that you've gotten about taking this case, has it primarily been from the African American community?
100%. At least that I've
seen. And why do
you
think so?
I think it's because their version of justice on social media, let me say it differently. I think they're being gaslit to some extent. I think there's some.
And what do you mean by gaslighting?
There's some gaslighting going on. Let me give you an example. People who never met Miss Scott.
Okay, hold on. So let me see if this is actually it. Well, damn, I guess that's it. They said, well, would you say something to the family? And then it ends. Hold on. Let me just check and see. Is there another little part to this? Let's see. Is that it? Girl, he ended with, I guess not.
to my with attorneys coming off cases because it happens to be unpopular. I don't know where that ends. It doesn't end anywhere, and it certainly doesn't end well for people who are historically the most disenfranchised in the criminal justice system. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it.
Okay, I think it just ends right there where she said, "Do you have anything to say to the family?" That's really where it ended. I just
Or the Scott family
downloaded it, so I'm going
are
to I'll
posting
repost it
things.
uninterrupted for you guys. It's on Instagram. You can easily go find it on WDAS. But I downloaded it, girl. I'm gonna upload it um on my monetized channel uninterrupted, because he's so concerned, on top of being a busy attorney, he is busy pocket watching um folk who are busy getting a story out that is counter to what his goals are, which is to exonerate his client, I guess. I don't know. You know what I mean? Not my business. I'm not worried about it. I'm not part of that movement. Um the people who are disgusted have a right to be. If that's how they feel, that's how they feel. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not trying to sit here and tell people how they should feel. If people feel
And
like you are a sellout, then that's their business. Look, Mississippi Monica liked the post. Okay, Mississippi
welcome
Monica.
to my conversation online with attorney Shaka Johnson, who has
Well, what
been
happened to the
on the
comments?
afternoon.
Let's see. But yeah, I'll re-upload this uninterrupted for y'all who want to hear it uninterrupted, because I know I did break in with some commentary here and there. This is, if you're wondering who this is, some of you guys came in like, what did I just come into? This is Shaka Johnson. Okay, Mr. Shaka. Shaka is Keon King's attorney, and apparently Keon's parents, just the do you imagine, from what I hear, and you could see this in the comments, it's saying something to the effect that Shaka is former law enforcement, I guess, and Keon's dad might be a retired cop. I don't know, retired law enforcement. I'm not sure. I don't know this to be factual. And it very well could be. So the comments are doing what the comments do. Okay. All money ain't good money. Okay. Uh ugh, can you please let me scroll? Uh, I hate when I can't scroll. Okay, there we go. All money ain't good money because he knows Keon's dad. Keon's dad is a retired cop. And do you imagine how mortified you would be? And I mean, look, I don't know. I hate it for anybody who has to deal with a child who is trouble, is troubled. Great interview. I now understand where he is coming. That's all I'm going to say. That's who's the lady interviewing her. I'm giving Oprah vibes, and she's sharp. He represented himself in previous case, so I'm not surprised at this point. Yes, Shaka is a great defense attorney. He will lose this one, definitely about the money and publicity. The most he can do for him is help fight for his life. This is a capital murder case. He is still going to get time. His job is to fight for less time for his client. Just listen to his why, and he couldn't even answer the question. He said, "This ain't about me," but then he talked about himself the entire time. Let me give a like on that. Seems to be as if he knows Keon's father, family, father, mother, brother. On a personal level, I understand he is doing his job, but me personally, I would have turned it down. All money ain't good money, but to each their own. Everybody under the Constitution is entitled to be reason to a reasonable defense. But in this case, counselor, plead him out guilty to save the taxpayers' money. Salt of the earth people that enable their son to escalate from kidnapping to murder. Y'all can't be mad at the lawyer for doing their job. That's all my anger is to his client, not him. It's all about money, but let's be clear, all money ain't good money. And if he got a daughter and if it was his daughter that was kidnapped and murdered, would he still be his lawyer? Shaka, whatever. Someone says Shaka, whatever. He did not have to do that to her. I don't want to hear it that money not that good. He didn't deserve that. R.I.P. Kada. Everyone is entitled to a defense. He's a defense attorney. He is a yeah, I mean, look. It's like people can make their decision on who they like and don't want to like based on I don't like them ugly ass gray jeans and I don't like how he's sitting for the interview. You know what I'm saying? People might feel some type of way about his gray acid wash jeans right now. You know what I'm saying? Who am I to say anything about it? And on top of that, don't care. You know what I'm saying? People can have arbitrary opinions. That's my point. And they don't have to reconcile in my book of reconciliation. You know what I'm saying? I don't like them nasty jeans. I don't like the way he's sitting. I don't like his attitude. But that's not because Keon is his client. It's just he's got a particular air about him. There might just be some people who don't F with this dude, and this might just be the tipping point of, oh, I really don't like him now. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't necessarily have to be factually based. This is on some feelings, and people's feelings are hurt about Kada. Kada represented a lot about Philadelphia. This picture right here, she has on a Miss Philadelphia sash. This young lady represented the city, and people feel some type of way about it. And to not acknowledge that that is the case and to just be have a little more class about it would have really just encompassed if you wanted to go for an interview, just be aware of that. This girl has on a Miss Philadelphia sash, sir. The city feels robbed. This is one of their daughters. They feel some type of way. Give people a minute to digest what has happened. That's it. That's it. That's it. That's all. He wants to shove it down people's throat on top of the fact people really don't care that this is your job. We know. Anyway, guys, I'm not going to hold y'all. I'll download this uninterrupted for y'all. So you guys don't have to. That way you can watch it uninterrupted. That's it. Anyway, I'm so glad you guys joined me. Make sure to hit the thumbs up. If you're new here, subscribe to this channel. We're keeping up on this and many others. Y'all, I'm still on the road to getting back to me because the past couple days your girl wasn't feeling well. Okay. So I might come back later. I'm gonna try, okay? But make sure to hit the thumbs up for me, share me out, Facebook, share me out, follow me on, all my socials are in the description box, at least they should be. I will add them shortly. Yes, I'll add them. I guess that's it, guys. You guys have a good rest of the afternoon. I hope that you are enjoying your weekend. It's just very unfortunate. This guy had an opportunity to come and talk to the world because yes, this is This is a situation where he's had an opportunity to sit and put a face on this outside of Philadelphia, and he came and chose buffoonery on today. Just my opinion. He chose the clown route on representing his client. I don't think he did his client any help today in this interview. I think he came off buffoonery and clownery and clownish. That's just my opinion. You guys let me know down below what you think. Um yeah, that's it. That's all. Okay, you guys, take care. Have a wonderful Saturday, and I'll see you later. Bye, guys.